Hi, my name is Kiyaan, and I will be presenting a story I made until its climax, in which one of my classmates had finished it. My story is called Anachronism. I made this story for my 8th grade advanced writing class. Some people may be confused by the title of my story. An anachronism is someone or an object out of place, not belonging to its time. You will see why I named my story this later on. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick summary from my story. My story, Anachronism, is set in the year 2020. Our main character is Nathaniel, Nathan for short. Nathan has lived a normal life for 16 years on this planet. Nathan loves his mother anything else than he has. Nathan's father had left him and his mother when he was born, leaving his mother to raise him by herself. It was a normal day for Nathan. He had just gotten back from school and turned on his Xbox and played until 9 p.m. Nathan had noticed that he had forgotten to do his homework, in which he had done until 9 p.m. Nathan was exhausted from all his work. Nathan then decides to sleep, as he is exhausted. As Nathan sprawls across his bed and shuts his eyes, he feels a strong wind blow against him. Nathan tries opening his eyes but could not. Nathan starts to panic, but 5 minutes later, Nathan awoke. To his surprise, Nathan was not in his room in Buffalo, New York. Nathan was in Tokyo. Will Nathan find a way back to his mother in New York? Only time will tell. Now that I have showed you all a summary from my story, I'm going to read you all a section from my story. Here we go. The long weekend was now over. It was now Monday, which meant school. I did not love or hate school like a lot of people. I thought of school as like a job for younger teens and adults that benefit me later on in my life. As my alarm clock had woken me up from my slumber, I went to shower and did my normal routine to get ready for school. As I picked up my backpack and headed for the door, I said goodbye to my mother. The bus was waiting for me outside, and as I got in, I sat with my friend at the back of the bus. We talked until the bus finally arrived at the school grounds, in which we departed our own ways. The school day flew by, and I was already walking back to the bus stop with a bag full of homework. The bus ride was quite boring, as I did not have anyone to talk to this time. I waited and waited until I finally got home, in which I greeted my mother, and then went into my room to play video games. I turned over to look at my clock, and I had already saw it was already 9 p.m. I had not finished my homework. As I mentioned earlier, I did not hate school, but the one thing I did hate about school was homework. I turned off my Xbox and sat on my desk to finish my dreadful homework. An hour had flown by. I'd finished about half of my assignments, and I was starting to get tired already. I pushed myself to finish my work, and by the time I did, it was 11 p.m. I could not wait to get to my bed and sleep, as I was so tired from doing all my work. I went downstairs, said goodnight to my mother, and then went back to my room to get a well-deserved sleep. As I shut my eyes and turned off the lights in my room, I sprawled across my bed. My eyes started to close by themselves, and by then, I knew I'd be sleeping soon. As I finally slept, something felt off. I felt a sensation of wind blowing on me very aggressively. I tried opening my eyes, but they would just not open. What was happening? Is this still all a dream? I was not prepared for the events that would come after this. It would all be like a nightmare come to life. It was 5 minutes later, and suddenly, my eyes had opened. When I opened my eyes, something was different. I was not in my bedroom. I was in an entirely different city. I was so shocked and confused in the moment that I was left speechless. I thought to myself that this was all a bad dream, and that I would wake up any time now, but that was not the case at all whatsoever. I looked outside and saw many flashing and glowing signs and lights. All that I knew so far was that I was in a futuristic city, due to the cars here being very advanced. As I left the building I was in, I had noticed some civilians walking by. I walked up to one of them and asked where and what this place was. They were speaking a foreign language, one that I did not know. All that I could tell was that they were speaking Japanese. At this moment, I realized I was in Tokyo. That was all the information I would get for a long time. I would not even find out if I were in the future or in the present, or even what year it was. A couple hours flew by. I was still on the streets, with no way to communicate with others. While I was on the streets, I also noticed something different about this place. Most things here defied Isaac Newton's 3 laws of motion. Occasional objects would just fly by and be floating. I was very confused with this. I would not find about this information for a while, but I was in a completely different timeline. Totally different from the regular timeline that I was used to. For example, most things in this timeline were altered, or were a variation of things from my timeline. For example, Newton's laws here were altered to have different rules and have a different name. The name of these laws was the Crimson Laws. Thank you everyone for listening to my story. You can find a link to my full story down in the description below. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed.